Welcome back to Chilltime. I'm Jose, and hope you guys have been having a lovely, wonderful day so far. So our Assassin's Creed giveaway is still going. If you guys are on Twitch, of course, you got probably a few more days to just enter these giveaways. So basically, it's not going to have any of the Assassin's Creed 2 franchises. I've already given a copy of that away, of the Brotherhood, Revelations, and the normal one. But it's going to be gold edition of Odyssey. That's one giveaway. There's going to be Unity and Rogue as another. And it's going to be Syndicate and Black Flag as another as well. As Black Flag and Syndicate relate through a certain protagonist in Black Flag. Unity and Rogue, for obvious reasons, if you play through the game, you see how they relate. And of course, Odyssey and Assassin's Creed 3, they don't relate that much. It's just Odyssey has Assassin's Creed 3 remastered in the Gold Edition, which I'm giving out, and all the DLC as well for Odyssey. I'm not giving out a copy of Origins because I've never played Origins. I only do give out copies of games I played and review games that I played. If I have not played the game, then I won't be reviewing it. But anyways, guys, let's start with the COVID watch in Australia. Thank you for the follow, Killer Combo. Thank you for the follow. Hope you're having a good day, my dude. And let's get up to the COVID watch in Australia. And let's just go here. So at a glance, honestly, I've never played Assassin's Creed. If you want to start playing Assassin's Creed, start with Assassin's Creed 2, Brotherhood, and Revelations, okay? And then you get into the Assassin's Creed series and what it's all about. Personally, I think the Assassin's Creed 2 series is probably the best trilogy, one of the best trilogies. But unfortunately, I cannot review it for the trilogies because I've already reviewed it. So, you can't review something if you've already reviewed, okay? So at a glance, in Australia, there's been 7,000 cases of Fingo, 6,300 have recovered, 98 have died, and pretty much it. So there's the numbers here. So that's in Australia total. Now you get to the States. In WA, it's 552 confirmed cases, and there's been no cases, and there's only been 9 deaths, okay? So think about that, for example. There's been 552 cases, there have been no cases in 24 hours. This is how our graph's looking like at the moment, and, pretty much will flatten the curve. Like, by far, okay? As I accidentally get caught in here. So now let's go to here. So WA haven't had many cases, there's still 552. And I haven't had any new cases for quite a while. And I'm trying to see if I can get any recoveries as well. More information. I think more information has the one amount that have been recovered. Have they? No, they have not. Okay. But pretty much, these are the figures that have been at the moment. And I think this is the biggest spike of COVID-19 that Australia's had in a day, actually, which is down here. So I think we might be getting to our second wave shortly. But I think we have enough antibodies by the time we get there. So now in the other area is that we have flattened the curve slightly. As you see here, the curve is flattening up. This is the annoying thing, by the way. G'day, Snooks. The annoying thing is that I can't scroll down because I'll be scrolling down in this spreadsheet. But as you can see here, it goes up, then flattens, okay? And this is time in the months after, it started. Now down here, of course, it shows basically all the ways I've got it. In Tassie, Victoria, and New South Wales being local quite a bit. WA hasn't been local quite a bit either. And, well, in WA, there's been a few unknown contact as well. And it's been pretty much under control in most areas, especially in WA and Northern Territory. Tassie, though, fucking concerning when you have, basically overseas acquired very few and then, local known contact up really high. And as you see here, cases and deaths, not many deaths at all. Deaths have been mainly into the elderly, anyone above 60. I think one person above 40, and they had the heart issues. And it's not a big issue for the younger population. It's usually a bigger issue for the older population, as you see here. And as you see here, basically they've got the tests conducted, and they've conducted almost over 1 million tests. And the positive test rate in WA is 1%. There's basically cases in the hospital at the moment. There's 17 in the East ICU, 26 not in the ICU. And this is probably the big one. In Australia, there's no one in hospital for COVID-19. And that's why WA started allowing elective surgery to happen again. It's because there's no one in the hospitals for COVID-19. And in the aged care services, in the aged care areas, literally all of them are in New South Wales because they got into an aged care facility basically, and it spread. And everywhere else has got none. And in home care basically means in their houses. There's been quite a bit recovered as well. So New South Wales have 13 recovered. And essentially, Australia's been doing a very, very good job at being able to keep the corona at bay. So I've got an ingrown hair in one of my wrists. I'm trying to get it out. I've been fidgeting with it, trying to get it out. But, Australia's been doing really well with it. Like, we just tipped over we tipped over 7,000 about 2 weeks ago. And we're still, like, we haven't broke 7,100 yet. So anyways, guys, we're going to go towards the games now. So we're going to go through to the Bioshock series, okay? I want to have some summer parties, so I hope the situation will be under control and everything will be fine. Dude, you're not going to have a summer party, okay? That's probably not going to happen. That's going to be real with you. That's probably not going to happen. So let's talk about a game developed by an Australian developer, in other words, Bioshock. And Bioshock franchise, it's been a trilogy, Bioshock 1, Bioshock 2, and Bioshock Infinite. So I thought I'd do a trilogy this week with my games and reviews for the games I've played that are part of a trilogy, okay? And Bioshock was the first game I played out of the series. Yeah, no party for you, yeah, exactly. And I'm going to say Bioshock has been actually one of the better games I've played that was a first game. And I'm going to say Bioshock was pretty fun because of the plumbing, okay? I enjoyed the hacking in that game because it was basically plumbing. And I also enjoyed the aspect as well is that the bosses were all kind of sketchy and crazy in their own sort of ways. And you had multiple ways to, like, kill enemies. It wasn't just one way. And also the little twist at the end, which built more and more into Rapture and what you were doing and stuff like that, really, really made it, like, turn in the stomach. And essentially what you become at the end is pretty hilarious as well. And also the game, like the Bioshock game, the Bioshock franchise now, is just one big mind fuck, okay? One big mind fuck, okay? When you play Infinite, and if you finished Infinite, you know all about it. So basically, it's isolated in a utopia called Rapture, which is, basically, they talk about 1960s being like, they don't want to support the Soviet Union, they don't want to support the Americans. Basically, they want everyone to be as best as they can be. So basically, on the year, I think it was 1st of 1960, basically, there was a civil war between, I think it was Atlas and James Ryan, which you find out. I think it's James Ryan, right? And it's basically, adopting the short stories, or 1984, for example, and dystopian figures like Ayn Rand, George Orwell, and Huxley. Like Brave New World of the Plasmids, how they manufacture things to splice to make yourself better and stuff like that. They put those all together to create Rapture and this horrific dystopian future. So basically, they've discovered a thing called Adam, which used to grant superhuman powers, and basically they, gone down since then. Bioshock Infinite was best to me. Yeah, Bioshock really was probably the better game, but we're going to review Bioshock. So Bioshock, pretty much at the start of the game, you're in a little plane, and then basically you get taken down to Rapture. Like, there's a lighthouse, you look for people, you get taken down to Rapture. It was set in 1960s in an underwater city. Basically, the city's underwater, as you see here, the picture right here. And, yeah. So as you see here, basically, businessman Frank Fontaine tried to make a coup of a Rapture over Ryan. And basically, they worked with a doctor, which you work throughout the game as well, to save these little girls called Little Sisters. And you can either mine them for Adam, which is what gives you greater genetic powers, or you can, just take a little and save them. And basically, essentially, New Year's Eve of 1958, basically, they all start fighting each other, and Ryan and Atlas, basically, the Rapture fell apart. And what you're trying to do is that, do you know the Black Mirror game? No, I do not. You're talking about, what is it called? I'm trying to think of it, the game on the TV show. But oh my god, I think it's like Crackerjack or something like that. It's a kind of a funny name. But anyways, like Bioshock, it's a very fun game. You get lightning bolts, you can shoot lightning bolts, you can shoot flames, you can even deflect things back to people. And it's also an FPS shooter kind of game as well, so you get crossbows, you get machine guns, you get the pistol, you also get a wrench, you also get the 1-2 tap as they call it, where they zap and knock them out the wrench. And you get a lot of other things as well. You can even upgrade your weapons, like fire bolts, frost bolts, and stuff like that. And, basically, it's one of those games as well where they have a lot of save points everywhere, just in case you die. And they also have a lot of consumables around as well. And the boss fights are quite fun as well, but it's not unfortunately, it's not like Dishonored and a few other games where you can choose what you do to the person. It's always just, you have to kill them, you have to kill them, you have to kill them. But they do introduce that option in Bioshock 2 where you don't have to, where you can do something else to them instead. And in Bioshock, it's basically more than about kill, and more about, just keeping the plasmids going. And if you want to, I think there's two different endings. If you think one of them's unlocked by saving your little sisters, I think it is. And if you unlock that ending, then you're doing a good job. If you don't, well, you're not doing a good job. And I think there's a bad ending as well if you don't, if you kill the little sisters as well. Overall, like I really enjoyed Bioshock. It was actually a pretty decently sized game. Like I thought when I got up to a certain point that was going to be the game over. You've done your job, and then the plot twist comes in. And when the plot twist comes in, it's basically a whole different game, and you got still got half the game to go basically. And well, the plot twist is hilarious, by the way. The plot twist is actually really, really good, and it's just mind blowing. Okay, like mind blowing. Like it all like pieces together from the start of the game of what you've been doing and what the person's been saying to you and stuff like that, and like you realize like holy crap, like damn, like it's just been like just boom. Now go to Bioshock 2. So Bioshock 2 is a bit different, okay? So Bioshock 2, it's still in Rapture, of course. It's a click and point adventure game. You should play it. You maybe enjoy it. Maybe. Is it? I'm trying to think what it's called, but I know what it is because I've played it before. And it's about a kid who he thinks he's being played by a player and he's becoming self-aware. I think that's what you're talking about, that Black Mirror episode, right? When a kid, like, he becomes, like, semi-aware throughout the stage that he might be being played as a video game. But anyway, so we got Bioshock 2. We had Bioshock 1. Bioshock 1 did have some DLC as well. And then we got Bioshock 2. And Bioshock 2 also had Minerva's Den, which was another single-player campaign. And also, the plot and the setting for Bioshock 2, it's back in Rapture once again. And what's happened is that, basically, Bioshock 1 has happened. And in one of the big daddies called Subject Delta, you get to live Rapture at the start before it goes into like complete mental lockdown. And basically you get introduced to this character called Sophia Lamb, who basically takes away Subject Delta's daughter and basically is KO'd by Lamb. And basically just, I think it was like moments after that happens, the entire, New Year's Eve rebellion happens and Subject Delta, well, he's largely ignored, and then he wakes up a bit later, he's revived by his daughter, basically. You say something, but I don't understand you, sorry. Oh, isn't it, like, with Black Mirror, isn't it the episode with the kid who's got, like, psychological issues? And then, like, if you pick certain options, he'll start feeling like he's being played like a player in a video game, or something like that. Like, he tries to explain those options. Like, it's multiple different endings, okay? Like, multiple different endings. Is that episode you're talking about? Of Black Mirror? But anyways, we're talking about Bioshock 2. So, basically, in Bioshock 2, it's basically way after the party now. So, way after the New Year's. I think it's way after, since Ryan and Fontaine, basically, it's after the events of Bioshock 1. And, basically, Delta's trying to rescue his daughter, Eleanor, and Sophia is basically kidnapped Eleanor, and Eleanor's just being kept away, and Subject Delta's just got a will to try and save her. And basically, Tenenbaum from the previous games tries to help Subject Delta out, with a few things and stuff like that. At one point, I think Tenenbaum did try to save her as well. And, it's just Bioshock 2. I didn't finish all of it because Bioshock 2 Remastered had a really, really bad video card glitch where basically your game would crash within 30 minutes. But the overall part of it was just this, working around this train, getting new plasmids, exploring a new area, but also gave you a new option to either spare some of the lieutenants of Sophia Lamb. Like, you could do another mission to spare the person. At one of the points, there was this, African-American person that you could save, and by being generous and not killing them, and they would basically be like, wow, you're not so bad. Sophia Lamb was telling us that you're like pure evil and you kill everyone. Because you're playing as a big daddy, by the way, in Bioshock 2. The Bioshock 2, though, doesn't really link up to any of the other games of Bioshock 1 or Bioshock Infinite. Like, it doesn't link up in the trilogy. It's just a sequel for the sake of the sequel to explain what happened to Rapture effectively. What happened there and what went on. And basically, if you guys don't know, basically Delta and Eleanor do have a link that if Eleanor dies, so does Subject Delta and vice versa. So, Subject Delta's technically tied to Eleanor, and basically Subject Delta's going to try and rescue Eleanor through by hook or by crook. And there's a few basically different things as well that happen, and a lot of twists happen in that game as well, especially with Subject Delta. And overall, it was really, really fun, this game. It actually improved a lot on Bioshock 1. You know how a lot of sequels have a lot of single curses, and they're really bad? Like, the plasmids were really fun to play with. They added a few more plasmids as well. They added a ranged hack, with their auto hack bolts and also the range hack bolts. Because it's really, really frustrating on some areas where basically you had to kill a few enemies just to hack a point. So you couldn't just do a range hack shot and hack it from range. And basically, they put that into the game. They also put down the auto hack darts as well. That basically, if his auto hack was good to go. Also, you still could hack enemy turrets as well that would fly around when they would wee woo wee woo wee woo. And lastly, well, that was pretty much it. And unfortunately, I didn't finish Bioshock 2, but I got exceptionally close. But the graphics card issue kept bugging me out over and over and over again. And it got to a point where it was just absolutely frustrating. Like, when you had the bug, like when the bug was occurring, you couldn't save the game. So if you didn't save often, you basically like lost all your progress. And I lost so much of my progress so many times and do same sections over and over again. That was the biggest complaint of Bioshock 2 Remastered, is that the remastered version was unplayable, was actually unplayable. Now we get to the last one, Bioshock Infinite, okay? And Bioshock Infinite is probably one of the most complete and best games of Bioshock, okay? It is one of the best games of Bioshock. The DLC is even better as well. A DLC, this game basically explains the entire Bioshock premise, and it basically, okay. It's a castle with a name. The story is placed in your castle. You got a nephew. Okay, that's interesting. That's interesting. Black Mirror. Wow, did not know that. But with Infinite's a different type of game, and they revolve around Booker DeWitt and Elizabeth. So Elizabeth is is a chick who can create tears and dimensions and travel through dimensions, which you'll find out later why she can do that. Is because of magic, and she can open up dimensions at will because basically she's in between two dimensions, and you get a lot of feeling for the Bioshock series through Bioshock Infinite, okay? And basically Bioshock Infinite is similar to the original Bioshock. Like, there's health, but instead of health there's I think you can eat food instead, and there's salts and vigors instead of the normal blue stuff, the gene, whatever it is. So basically, you can gain crazy powers through these vigors, and Elizabeth can actually help you out as well, by creating tears or creating hooks and stuff like that for you to use as Booker DeWitt. And also you get a few other weapons where you get a hook shot, you get a magnetic hook shot, and a lot of other things as well. And you're actually trying to fight Comstock, who's this evil person who apparently kidnapped your daughter, and you get a message saying, come back, repay the debt and stuff like that. And this game really adds on to the mindfuck of Bioshock 1 with its own mindfucks, and it really finishes up Bioshock 1 as well as a story. Also, the DLC basically links up Bioshock 1 to, it basically puts the Bioshock 1 story together, and it basically ties up Bioshock 1 to Infinite, and Infinite really, it's revealed during Infinite, especially during the DLCs, that Rapture, what they were trying to do and what was happening is that, I think it was at one point it was Rapture in Columbia, that's what the city's called in Bioshock Infinite, are very, very closely linked than you would think, okay? It's got the same thing, one's a city in the air, and also one has a lighthouse, and one's a city in the sea as well. And there's a lot more to be discovered between Bioshock Infinite and a few others as well. And there's been a lot of plot twists as well in the game, and you get revealed to them step by step by step by step. And at the end of the game, it's just absolutely crazy. It also teaches you about certain things, like how certain choices just don't matter, and it's just holy moly, okay? It's absolutely holy moly. It's just multiverse insanity, and you guys will love it. Infinite's got so many fun new abilities. There's this thing called a crow, Murder of Crows trap, and you can turn it to basically every time you kill an enemy, they become a Murders of Crow trap, and you can effectively just basically kill everyone with the Murders of Crows. Like, the Murders of Crows will just kill everyone over and over again. And you can completely, like, annihilate packs with just Murder of Crows. There's also other things as well, like Bucking Bronco, where you charge into someone. And a lot of the plasmids, or vigors as they call them, they're a lot different compared to the previous game. Like, they still have the Tentacle Fire and Electric Bolt one, but all the other ones are very, very unique in how they operate. Like, it's not just the good old, just the same old, possession and telekinesis, stuff like that. They've got the Murder of Crows trap. They've also got a few fear traps as well, which is insane. And trying to think of what I played Infinite as well. Infinite, really highlights on all the different areas. And towards the end of the game, basically, it just what is it? It's just basically, what is it? It's just a big mindfuck. Like, you got to play throughout the story. Like, the further you play throughout the story, all the pieces piece together in Bioshock, Bioshock 1, Bioshock 2, and Infinite. And Burial Sea does a very, very good job at linking Bioshock Infinite to Bioshock 1, and linking the multiverse theories as well. One of the things in Bioshock 1 is, in Bioshock Burial at Sea Part 1, is that you get to see Bioshock 1 before it descends into madness, basically, and how, how crazy some of these people were before the thing happened. Now, overall, the Bioshock series, I didn't enjoy Bioshock 2, but I really enjoyed Bioshock 1 and Bioshock Infinite. My favorite part about Infinite was definitely the multiverse, like all the multiverses and stuff like that, and basically going through these dimensions and experiencing them, which was insane. What happened was that one of the characters die, and then basically Elizabeth tears a dimension open to where they're still alive, and that's the sort of plot twists and dimension theories you're gonna have, where you go to another dimension where things happen just a little bit differently, and you'll get to experience all those as well. And Burial at Sea also really finishes up Elizabeth's arc as well as a story, and you get to see why Elizabeth turned into this person, and you get to see how this was deliberately made so Elizabeth would become this person. And they don't Elizabeth just doesn't realize until just then that everything she became, all experiences that she had, other than being with Booker, was set up for her, basically. Was set up for her. Apparently set up for her. Even though it's not a big spoiler, by the way, guys, but apparently it was set up for her. Like, she realizes throughout the story that things may be a bit less variable, than she thinks. Okay, things are purported to happen. Anyways, that's gonna be it for the Bioshock series. Next up, we're gonna go to the Mass Effect series. I think I might edit that part out. I think I did spoil a bit of the game there. With the Mass Effect series, this is another trilogy. Well, my brother wanted me to play, because my brother also wanted me to play the Bioshock series, and then he wanted me to play the Mass Effect series. So Mass Effect was him. He was basically harassing me all day and night. He's play Mass Effect, play Mass Effect, play Mass Effect, play Mass Effect. You'll love it. You'll love Mass Effect. Play Mass Effect. So I did. I played the first game. I completed the first game. It took me a bit of a while because Mass Effect had a lot of missions. But I completed the first game, and I remember linking a picture of the moon to one of my good friends while I was playing Mass Effect. And I completed Mass Effect. I basically you're chasing out to Saren. The first game is basically Shepard is investigating Saren. Then basically they find out Saren's working with the Reapers, and basically is essentially Shepard trying to stop the Reapers from invading Earth and the Mass Effect galaxy overall. And basically the Mass Effect is the name of the ship, the transport systems they use to fast travel. And they just basically throughout the story discover how the Mass Effect systems worked, what the Citadel actually is, and a few other things as well. And basically it's a first-person or third-person shooter squad type of game. It's a cover shooter game where you have to hide behind cover, pop out, do a few shots here and there. But it's got heavy RPG elements where you've got a lot of gear to replace. The gear is like RNG. It's kind of like Diablo 3 gear, where you can potentially get best in slot from drops. And overall, it was one of the best games. It was given Game of the Year. And yeah, this was one of BioWare's first really good trilogies. It was one of the best trilogies, one of the universal acclaim, and I really, really enjoyed Mass Effect 1. In fact, Mass Effect 1 has very, very good graphics for a game of its era, because it was released in 2007, okay? Is Mass Effect something like Fear? Yes, but it's a lot better than Fear, okay? It's made by Bioware, but it's a lot better than Fear, so I'm going to say it's a lot better. And basically, Mass Effect is that your choices matter a fuck ton, okay, in that game. Your choices matter a lot. Like, choices you make in Mass Effect 1, like, there's a reason why it's also called Mass Effect, can make big differences in Mass Effect 2 and Mass Effect 3. Like, massive differences on what's said, how to introduce, and what happens in it. And this is what I love about the Mass Effect trilogy, is that things that even in Mass Effect, or even in Mass Effect 2, or even in Mass Effect, 3, can affect the storyline overall. And it's just quite amazing. So basically what's happening is essentially Mass Effect, well, the first game is, potentially trying to stop the Reapers. And basically its setting is basically in a fictional universe of the Milky Way towards the 22nd century, where humanity discovered an alien outpost on Mars, and basically, they learn about the Mass Effect, fast and light travel, and then they had the first contact war, and, they basically welcomed humanity and stuff like that. So basically it's like humans find aliens, basically, and then they become super advanced because of it. And yeah, so basically Commander Shepard, who's trying to become a Spectre. The Spectre is like a top agent in the Citadel, and it just goes a little bit awry with what happened. Like, what happens is that Saren intervenes, basically. And so anyways, next up is going to be, well, the first 3 games set around Shepard, so it's like the Shepard trilogy. And the next one is going to be Mass Effect 2. So Mass Effect 2 was released 3 years later, and everyone was eagerly awaiting this second part. And Mass Effect 2 is probably one of the best games, or one game of the year. So what happened is that they introduced so many different characters in Mass Effect 2, because a lot of complaints were said that there was not enough characters in Mass Effect 1. In Mass Effect 1, there were 6 characters, being Garrus, Rex, Shepard, Liara, Tali, and... No, there's actually 7, Kaidan and Ashley. Like, those are the 7 characters you could play, okay? And basically, you make a decision in Mass Effect 1, which impacts, basically, what happens, essentially. Like, you basically lose a team member in Mass Effect 1, which is insane. Like, it's basically a big choice. And in fact, they released an unreleased ending where you could save both team members, okay, in that story, but they never put it in because they wanted that impact of losing a team member to be really highlighted into that game. So basically, there's one mission where you have to sacrifice one team member to save the other, basically. You can't save both. As basically, as the mission is you've dropped an atomic bomb and you've got to keep, running away and stuff like that. So Mass Effect 2, basically a lot of complaints saying there was not enough characters. So Mass Effect 2 just put characters everywhere, okay? I'm going to put it this much, okay? They got a 96 out of 100 review on Metacritic. And I'll tell you this much about Mass Effect 2. There was so many characters in that game. And with so many amazing storylines. And so many decisions that you had to make in this game. Like, a lot of missions, there was these loyalty missions where for your team squad mates, that you had to do certain things for them to make sure that they were loyal to you. And no one understood, like, what this loyalty system was. And then you understand it at the end game. So what happens with the plot of Mass Effect 2? Essentially what happens is that your ship is under attack with Shepard, and Shepard basically asphyxiates and dies after his ship is ambushed by the collectors. And basically all the squad mates escape other than Shepard, and Shepard dies. And 5 years later, Shepard's revived by a group called Cerberus, which you're introduced to in the first game. And if you did certain missions in the first game, which killed a few Cerberus members, they'll be like, yeah, we know we killed you and stuff like that. This is how this is what I'm talking about, how your decisions matter, is when you do a certain mission to kill a certain group, they remember what you did, okay? They remember what you did, okay? And that's one of them where Cerberus, if you did all the missions to kill Cerberus members, they'll be like, oh yeah, we remember you. And if you didn't do any of the missions to kill them, they won't know who you are. So they basically revive Shepard. Like, they piece Shepard back together in the Lazarus Project to bring him back to life, basically, okay? And that's what they do. And you have a funny scene when you go to the Citadel where they're like, hang on, you're dead. Like, it says here that you're dead. And Shepard's like, nope, it's just a bug. I'm not dead. And it's just like, dude, like, you've been dead for 5 years, bro. But you're suddenly alive again. But they let you in. But it's absolutely hilarious. But I'm going to say one thing that's really, really good for Mass Effect 2 is the gameplay. The gameplay is so fucking good. In Mass Effect 1, you had like 20 million abilities. In Mass Effect 2, just have a simple 6 ability setup. Just 6 ability setup. Every character, I think all the buddy characters only have like, 3 or 4 abilities. And it's just far easier to use. in Mass Effect 1, every character had about 8 or 9 abilities. It's like you're trying to cycle through them. You're just like, oh god, I just want to go to bed. Like, I want to do lift. I have to go through like 20 spell books and stop the game and do lift. In Mass Effect as well, you can stop time to, think about how you're going. It's a tactical shooter. But in Mass Effect 2, it made it so much easier. You only had like 6 things to really mess around with. And you could also bind your squad mates' abilities. You didn't have to go to your squad mate and select their abilities for them to use. You could actually bind them to your key. So if you want to use, let's just say Garrus, for example, because Garrus is the coolest character in the Mass Effect series. You want Garrus to like just basically blow a hole through someone and attack someone. You just hit that, tell Garrus to do that to that mob, and Garrus would do it. And also as well, Shepard is a lot more reactive. You can actually move between covers as well. And also, it's a lot easier to keep track of shields. Like, sometimes in the first game, you didn't know your shields were depleted until you pretty much died. In Mass Effect 2, it tells you when your shields are gone. Like, basically a red screen comes up, and like as you get damaged more and more, the bleeding comes in. Also, they got rid of the gear system altogether. Like, in Mass Effect 1, you used to have to get 9 pieces of gear to complete. You have to get, different weapons as well. But in Mass Effect 2, like, all the weapons are already there. You can modify them. That's the only system they've got. And with the armor system, basically it's just 4 armor sets. Helm, chest, legs, and gloves. And that was the armor, and boots. Sorry, and that's the armor system. There was no like bases, accessories, stuff like that. Just a simple system. And overall, it's a very, very fun game. And you get to know so many, like, basically through service, you get to know so many different things as well. And the loyalty missions really build on to all the characters' stories as well. Like, for example, we'll give you one bit of a spoiler. Garrus's loyalty mission, basically what happens when Garrus finds out that Shepard's dead, Garrus sets up his own Mass Effect squad. Like, basically, Mass Effect's are more of like a team effort, 6 players working together or 3 players working together. And Garrus set up his own, squad like that, but he was betrayed from within by some guy, and Garrus is wondering whether he should kill the guy in revenge or not. And what happens is, you learn throughout the loyalty mission that the poor guy was threatened with his family going to be murdered if he didn't do anything, and, you can either talk Garrus down out of it from shooting him, or you can let Garrus shoot at him, okay? And basically, there's the good ending and the bad ending. Like, basically, in Mass Effect series as well, there's the Paragon system, which means you're the good guy, and there's the Renegade system where you're just an arsehole. You get the job done, but you're an arsehole, basically, like a yeehaw cowboy. And I can never ever go Renegade. I'm just such a goody two-shoes. I always go Paragon, and don't let Garrus shoot him, okay? Like basically what you can do when you don't want to let Garrus shoot him, basically you just block him off. Like, you always stand in front of his range, and he's like, damn it, Shepard, stop getting in front of me! And, like, Shepard, you can tell the guy that's going to be shot up by Garrus, and, Shepard relays the radio of the guy saying, my family was on the threat, they're going to kill my mom, they're going to kill my son and daughter, and Garrus like, okay, I won't take the shot, It was like, he couldn't really do anything about it, and that he's, lived with it. He, like, basically explains he's lived with it the rest of his life. He was, horrified, he's traumatized, he's unhappy with what he did. And, that's one example of it as well. And you can see there, like, it's built the story up for Garrus, basically, it's built the grey area. Like, Garrus afterwards is like, I know black and white, but I don't know what to do with the grey. I have no idea, what do I do there? There's one guy who, basically his family was going to die if he didn't reveal it. And, Garrus lost all his teammates to it. And and also the guy also knew about it as well, that he, got all his friends killed purely because his family was being threatened. Now, I'm going to go on to the final part. So basically, the Mass Effect 1 and Mass Effect 2 series, all their DLCs as well, especially Arrival and Mass Effect 2, build up to this final game of Mass Effect 3. And Mass Effect 3 is basically the Reapers arrive, basically. So as what happens is that at the start of the game, Shepard is in prison for what he did, basically for hanging out with Cerberus. If you guys don't know, Cerberus is a criminal organization in Earth in Mass Effect. And basically, Shepard is under arrest, and he's basically essentially being scooped on. So basically, over time, what happens is that essentially the okay, go to the setting. So what happens is that Mass Effect 3 begins, and basically begins with the Reapers invading Earth. And so what happened was that after Commander Anderson, who's the main player in this story, reinstates Shepard, the Reapers invade Earth, and basically Earth gets completely overwhelmed really quickly. Shepard and a few others quickly scramble out. You get contacted by the top command of Earth, which is Hackett, and Hackett's like, dude, we just fucked off so quick because we weren't going to have a chance. And Hackett tells Shepard to leave for Mars, okay? and hack it. Basically, he tells you there's something hidden on Mars. Go there and you'll find out. You meet up with Liara back again, and basically the Human Alliance starts building this crucible to take down the Reapers. That's what they're trying to do. And basically all your decisions from the previous games and in Mass Effect 3, and whoever's still alive from Mass Effect 2 and Mass Effect 1, really, really impact Mass Effect 3 and how your decisions are going to go. And you've got to collect these things called war assets to maximize your efforts against the Reapers. And the more war assets you get, the better ending you can get, okay? Basically, the more assets you get, the stronger the Crucible will get. Like, for example, if your Crucible is strong enough, you can basically get the best ending in the game. You can get the second best ending in the game afterwards, and then you can get the worst ending in the game, which is unfortunate. So basically, afterwards, like I don't think you guys see it as well. Basically, you go to each world. Basically, each world is under attack. So basically, the Turians, another alien race, they're under attack as well. I forget the other guys. I forget Liara's race. But all the alien races that you've encountered are all under attack from this Reaper effect. The Solarians and all that are all under attack, and they're desperately trying to fend them off. And Shepard's trying to put an army together to build this crucible to stop the Reapers, okay? And basically Shepard goes from, having traumatic dreams about the Reapers, killing his family, or, about this kid he's trying to save and stuff like that. And he's trying to deal with, Reapers trying to probe into him, and at the same time trying to get everything together in these desperate times. And it's just a crazy game. Overall, the Mass Effect series, the Shepard Trilogy, is probably one of the best series. And Mass Effect 3, even though it had the crap ending at the start, the BioWare team made a better ending. And seriously, Mass Effect 3 is just the end of a great symphony. It's just a crescendo of a symphony, the epitome of the game, of all your decisions from Mass Effect 1 and Mass Effect 2 coming to fruition in one just giant bolt. And then you get to see how well you did. How well you did. Did you make the right decisions? Did you make the good long-term vision, or were you just short-sighted, basically? And, that's pretty much the Mass Effect series, I'm going to say, guys. Like, Mass Effect 3, it was fewer characters. They introduced a few more characters as well. But overall, it was so much fun. Like, it was such a fun game. And it's just good seeing the ending of things. Like, a lot of things that you've really built up in the previous games coming to fruition. Like, one example is that if you take a scientist's notes on experimenting with the genophage, which comes up a lot in Mass Effect 1 and Mass Effect 2, if you're able to bring it to Mass Effect 3, it'll make something easy to do. And all your decisions that you've made in all the different missions and stuff like that, they'll always pop up in Mass Effect 3. Like, one example, one of the DLC missions that you do in Mass Effect 2 will pop up in Mass Effect 3. And also as well, in Mass Effect 2 as well, you can also go back to Shepard's crash site as well, to where you crashed initially to collect all the medals. Anyways, guys, that's going to be it for the game reviews today. I'll put up these giveaways either on Saturday or Sunday for the Mass Effect 3 Trilogy, which can only be gifted on Origin, by the way, guys. It can't be gifted elsewhere. And also the Bioshock Trilogy as well, which can be gifted on Steam. And I'll get those set up by either Saturday or Sunday. Anyways, that's going to be it for the gaming in review. I'm going to take a quick break again, because I've been talking for quite a bit. And then when I get back, we're going to do some Mythic Pluses until about 11:30. Then we'll get ready for the advanced game that will occur later. Anyways, guys, thank you guys for tuning in for another Gaming in Isolation, Chilltime Jose. I'll be back in about a few minutes to start the Mythic Plus and get everyone on board. Probably do 2 to 3 today, hopefully maybe 4 if we get them all in time. Anyways, guys, I'll be back in a few minutes. See you guys later. Thank you guys for coming in Chilltime. If you guys are on YouTube, my links are below for my Twitch and my Twitter. Please follow those if you want to see these live. And I hope to see you guys, in the channel sometime. See you guys later. Peace out.